Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's webcast. We are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, all the places. We've got some chat. Just some ground rules whilst we're getting everybody in and saying hello to everybody. I expect you to comment. I want to know what you think. Tell me what you think. What are your thoughts? Share them in the chat so that I can feed back to you. It's interactive, it's live, so I can see people are commenting in the chat. So hello everybody. Let us know where you're joining from in the chat. Before I get started, I have to kind of have a little few minutes just to say hello to everybody because it takes a little while for everybody to get in and the feeds to kick in everywhere. So do say hello where you're joining from. I've spotted already Andrew Barnes has said hello. And Chidare has said hello. So welcome. We're going to start in about 5 minutes. Hi, Philip. So welcome to the session. I'm going to share with you just some really simple things I'm going to share with you from how to write copy that sells. There he is, Andrew Barnes. How to separate yourself from the crowd. And leveraging pain points to create a compelling proposition. So hi Kirsty, hi Fatima, Stirling, Scotland, Janet from New Jersey. Andrew, I'd try and do a Scottish accent, but it would probably be rubbish. And we've got Ashley there, welcome. Who else have we got there? We've got Gerard. I'm just struggling to see the bottom of the chat here, but we're going to kind of start in about 5 or 6 minutes. So why don't we just start with, and I'm more than happy to, oh, there's Stephen as well. Tell me in the chat, wherever you're joining, tell me, Simone from Chicago, tell me what is your biggest frustration with creating content? Sarah there from Denver. There we go. Becky from Bradenton, Florida. Rolla, welcome. Hi Sherry. Hi Sherry, how's things? You've settling into the new role. Alison in Cornwall. Alison, I'm in Plymouth. Sonia's there, Pete's there. Welcome. Now, what I wanted to talk about, Pete, I'm in Plymouth, UK. Spokane, Washington, so all good there. Tell me what is your biggest challenge. Tell me what the biggest challenge with content. Philip, telling clients it's an investment rather than an expense. Writer's block. The need to do it every day. Brian, yeah, I know, I'm with you. Anne-Marie, Florida's there. Well, maybe what I'm going to do, creator that feels like unique is a big frustration. Yeah, I'm with you. And Harry from London, welcome. Mary from Cincinnati. No, not far. Alison, apparently it's flooding in Cornwall. Yesterday it was too hot and today it's too wet. Scale content, Frank's scale content whilst relevance. Position it as a solution and not a sell. Being concise, Kirsty. Biggest challenge, finding interesting things to talk about. Concise, so yeah, time and figuring out what to write. Once I write a few posts, it starts repeating and I feel like I cannot hold the interest. Coming across credibly instead of sounding like a salesperson. Yeah. Biggest challenge, building community. Right. So maybe what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to cover my points, but I'm going to try and cover yours too. Because there's a lot of things there that I think actually before creating content that convert, you've got to kind of nail the art of writing. So I'm going to give you the simplest way to write and come up with content. Then I'm going to get to my bits. So one of the biggest challenges with creating content is, first of all, what am I going to write that's interesting? Yeah. And if something's interesting, it'll engage an audience. Now, bear in mind, your content should not necessarily be interesting to you. In fact, and this is the pen moment that you need to make a note, most of the content that you're going to write to you will seem like common sense. One of the biggest challenges that people have in creating content is overproduction. Now, I don't mean, you might laugh at that and go, no, my biggest problem is underproduction. Actually, what happens is every piece of content is overproduced. That's typically what I find, is people feel the need to produce something that's more insightful, more interesting, more engaging than the last one. In reality, what's happening is we're using our knowledge and taking our knowledge and expertise to an extreme that we don't need to do. If you're writing in an industry journal, you've got to have your absolute A star, A++++++ game on. But for content where, think about it, let's just forget its content for a minute, and let's say you're building a business and you're making cars. And you want to make the best car in the world, and you want to make the absolute fantastic car, but you want to sell 100,000 of them. So you want to make the best car in the world and you want to sell 100,000 of them. Now 100,000 isn't big volume, millions of cars is big volume, but 100,000 is like, it's mass production, but it's not, Ford, one of the Ford's main lines, or Vauxhall's main lines, or GM's main line. It's a niche production, but it's still a lot of cars. You can't make cars like that, like Rolls Royces, and make 100,000 of them. It's impossible. Why? Well, it's not impossible. You just have to scale up your operations. It's not physically possible on that business model unless you have lots of factories. Your content production, if you're doing your own content production, and I would advocate you do to get your voice through, you can't build Rolls-Royce content and have a production line in the same way. So most of your content should be relevant to your target audience, have some usefulness, and be common sense information to you. Why common sense to you? Because most of the stuff you take for granted. Now, this is not me pointing the finger at you, but most of the information that you take for granted. There's often times when I go, what am I going to write about? What am I going to write about? And I have no idea. We call it blank page paralysis. And it's in those moments where you actually forget all of the things that you know. You forget all of the information that you've learned, the experience you've got, and you struggle to put it into words, into writing, blank page paralysis. So why does that happen? It's because often we're not working from a system. So I would encourage you, number one, this is, I teach this in more detail, but I'm going to do it as quickly as I can, is, and I'll share my screen and go to Notepad to do this. Let me just zoom in so you'll be able to see it. Right? And this is what I want you to do. I want you to brain dump. So I can teach people about LinkedIn. I can teach them about social media. I can teach them about growing a business. And I can teach them about selling without being pushy. So we call those master topics. So these are the 4 master topics. You don't need tons of them, but 4 will do. Now, these are big topics. If I try and do a post about LinkedIn today, I'll be like, whoa, what do I do? So I can break those down into subtopics. So subtopic might be creating posts. It could be growing your followers. It could be sales navigator. Now, of course, there's still pretty big topics there, huge topics. So one of the things I can do then is break it down again into creating a post that goes viral. Then I could do a post about how to use a poll to get leads. Then I could go, how to build an engaged audience with your content. So I'm breaking these topics down and I can go forever. And when you start to build this structure, save it in a document, and every time you get an idea, come back to it and think about it in the context of master topic, subtopic, super focused topic. And you'll start to get lists and lists and lists. You don't have to give people a massive explainer. You just have to give people common sense information, because what you know, they might not know. And that's what I'm saying. The things that we know, we take for granted, and we look at it on paper and go, I need to write more. I need to make it more. And what happens is we make something that's so difficult for us to do, we can't sustain it. Think about it. If you want to use content to grow your business, it has to be, number one, it has to come from you. It has to feel like you. It has to be you, because people buy into people. So if you're not the content, you're not producing the content, it will come across less human. So that's the first thing. Number one is get the list down and categorize into main topic or master topic, subtopics, super focus. Yeah. So my main topic is LinkedIn, social media, growing a business, selling without being pushy. My subtopics are creating posts, growing followers, sales navigator. Then I can drill down as many times as I want. And as I get more ideas, I just put them in. More ideas, more ideas, more ideas. Then every post can be, quite simply, a list of actions, an explainer. In other words, I can tell people, why should you want to have a viral post? Or why is it a bad idea to have a viral post? What's a good viral post to help you grow your business? How to use a poll to get leads. I can explain how to do it, literally step by step. Or I can explain why a lot of people complain about polls, but they're actually really useful, and just explain a summary. I can do a video about it. I could do a PDF about it. And here's the thing. I can reuse those posts going forward. I don't have to keep making new. I can reuse them. Or I could do 5 ways to get a viral post on LinkedIn and do that post as a PDF carousel. Then I could do a video about it. Then I could do it as a text post. Then I could do it with an image and text. I can do the same post multiple ways, and I can reuse the post. Maybe every 6 to 8 weeks I can go back round again. And what will happen is, as I start to produce, I start to get quicker. As I start to produce, it gets easier. As I start to produce, it gets simpler. The more I do it, the easier it gets. But the key is, give yourself a freaking break. You are you, share it the way you want to. But there is a little bit of structure that will help you with this. Now, just when we're talking about content that converts, just before, is everybody still alive, by the way? I haven't put everybody to sleep, right? I know it's summer and I don't want to bore people to death. So if you're alive and still interested, please let me know in the chat or the comments that you're still here. So when it, do that, please, so I'm not talking just to a camera. So when it comes to content, you've got to be yourself. One of the biggest frustrations for me when I was doing stuff like this and when I was writing posts is I felt, thank you, Andrew. Right, Andrew, we're going to build a post. I tell you what we're going to do as a group. We're going to do a post, right? and I'm going to construct it on screen, and I want you to make your own, right? I'm going to help you make your own version of this post. And I'm going to post it. Come and follow me on LinkedIn, and I'll post it, and you make your own. And we're going to start from the beginning. So just a couple of things before we do that. It takes about 15 pieces of content to be consumed. 15 pieces of content to be consumed before people really start to get the message. So whilst content is a bit of a long game, it's not a massively long game. What happens is you educate en masse. So when it comes down the line and you decide to outreach or offer a lead magnet, or you decide to host a webinar, or you start to put out promotional content, more people will bite on it because you've invested in them over a concerted period. So if you think about it, one of the things I'm doing right now is I'm investing in you guys, because I've not got anything to sell here today. I'm investing in you guys with two reasons. Number one, some of you are going to come and follow me. Number two, some of you are going to come and engage with my content on a regular basis. Number three, some of you are going to shout out about us and recommend us to other people. And number four, a tiny percentage of you guys are going to go, wow, these Maverick people can help. I'm going to sign up for one of their programs or what have you. So let's have a look. Frank had a concern. He said, I'm afraid to alienate people by being too basic. Well, it depends what industry you're in, but what you need to do is a knowledge assessment. The quickest thing to do is a knowledge assessment, and just ask yourself, what are the things that I know that my target audience may struggle with? Because sometimes when we're creating content, we forget and lose sight of who we're talking to. So what are the things that I know? And I'm going to put a post together now and show you how easy this is to do. And you're going to copy this. So tomorrow, I don't want you to overthink this. I don't want you to over-engineer this. I want you to copy what I'm going to do now. And this is what's called a myth post. There are, and I'm going to pick 3 big myths people have about content. I'm going to share these. They hold people back from building a crowd of engaged followers. So I put 2 lines in. The 2 lines that I'm first doing are just to appeal to people in the feed, to get the attention in the feed. Why? The first thing people see are the first couple of lines and whatever image I put with it. So this is really important. Those first 2 lines get people curious about what you're talking about. So, number 1, what's the biggest one? Number 1. So in the chat, so maybe I'll put an emoji first. Emojis just break things up and make it clear. So we'll put in, why is it not working? Right, we'll just put number 1. So number 1, they think you need to have big, chunky thought leadership pieces. So I'll put that one. In fact, you need bite sized consumable content like this. Number two, you need to create high quality video and what do I say? You need to create high quality video and in fact, it could just be text with some tips and advice. 3, you need fresh ideas all the time. Not everybody sees all your posts, so you can recycle every few months. So then, now I'm going to give people some options, and I'm going to go, creating content is definitely useful, and if you speak to an audience's challenges, you'll get lots of attention. But it will take commitment and practice and some fails to really make it work. That's why my phrase with clients is you have to make it happen. Otherwise, you'll still be struggling with content in a year's time. Call to action: if you are stuck, happy to share some of my experiences and tips. Drop me a message. And then I'll put 3 hashtags on LinkedIn. So I'll put marketing, coaching, one of my target audiences, and technology. So I've just put this post out. I'm just going to ask the team to put a link in the chat so you can all find it. Look how it appears. Because I've not put an image on there, the first few lines become the most important. So the first few lines are the teaser to get people engaged. I couldn't get my emojis to work, Andrew. I don't know what it is. I don't normally use this one. So that is as simple as it has to be. The more complicated you make it, the bigger the Rolls Royce you build that the factory can't replicate. Think about it like that. If you start your content just sharing from your own perspective, in your own words, you'll start to get the traction because people are buying into you, and you'll learn from every single post. So if you start to write down your master topics, your subtopics, and then literally, right, I'm going to tell you something you can do. Real simple thing you can do. Number 1, go to my feed, follow on my profile. I'll just show you. On my profile, right, this is a little tip for you. And I don't care if you do this or don't do this. This is something that will help you, right? When you come to my profile, where it says open to, you'll probably see a follow. If you hit follow, and over on this side is a bell. And if you hit the bell, you'll get a notification every time I post. Just plagiarize my post, take it apart, and make your own version. Make your own version. So Mary's asked, like an outline or bullets. Yeah, they can be that simple. It can be that straightforward. Where people go wrong is they try to do too much with one post. Too much with one post, and so what happens is the whole thing, the factory, can't replicate the Rolls Royce. Now here's the thing. In a few weeks' time, after you've been doing things like this, stealing my formats and just using them, making your own version, translating it to your own world, after you've done that for a few weeks, your content writing and production muscle will be in better shape, and you'll be able to then experiment. There is no cheat to just posting. Here's another tip. I did this and I told tons of people to do it, and their profiles blew up. I told them to write a post where they said, took a selfie and wrote 5 things you don't know about me. Everybody reported people engaging and talking about it all the time. You don't have to do a lot. And I'm just going to show you some posts and give you some tips. And please do ask more questions. I will get to my points in a second. But I wanted to just get that done, right? And I'm just going to show you a couple of posts and you think this is crazy, right? So these ones are a bit more tricky to make. This is a post where I put, adversity makes you a better human. Getting everything you want is pretty toxic. We might not like it, typo, but we need a healthy level of challenge to drive us forward. Everything new is hard, right? And tough, but you get there in the end. So I just made this video from a YouTube clip I saw that illustrated the point. I put this up 4 hours ago, 7,000 views. Okay, 8 hours ago, I put this post up. How did I make this post? Really simple. I took a selfie. I put some bullet points together. Social media is like a TV channel, right? Content brings the audience. Content keeps the audience, and you promote and sell in the commercial breaks. In other words, in the gaps. 80% content, 20% promotional and selling. Get the mix wrong, your QVC. And I just wrote this. This applies whether you're a solo CEO or if you want to sell less, you have to help more. 2,000 engagements, interactions, instant. 11 hours ago, I did a video. Clients are from Mars and we're from Venus. When you get this, you'll get a ton more success, and I did a live video. Yesterday, let's talk personal branding. I repeated the points, put it into a post, 1,800. Then I did this post here, live again, a little promo post, a little motivational post, another little post, pointer one, motivational. Now I'm doing a lot of posts. If I could probably get more reach if I did less posts, but I'm reaching different audiences on a regular basis. So you'll see this one, just a screenshot of being mentioned in the thing. This live video went nuts. I eased up on my posting and I did way more on that live video. So you can see they're not massively complicated posts, but what happens is I'm getting leads and engagement from people. Now, here's something you might find slightly uncomfortable, right? Part of your content is people buying into you. So where Frank was nervous, right? You'll attract people who like your style. So be you. I try to be me in all of the... Frank, I'll answer that question in a moment. So what I do is I do all of this content. Yeah, well, Frank, it depends. It also takes a lot of time to sell to somebody. So what I'm doing with content is I'm taking a lot of the heavy lifting in the sales process away. So I dropped a message to somebody today who'd been engaging with my content, and I said, look, I can help you. I can help you get clients from social media. I can help you grow your business. Do you have time? Yeah, sure. Love what you do. Done. Dead easy. They're ready to do it. They believe in it. Why? Because they've seen me. They've got to know me. They've had value from me. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the hassle out of the sales process. So do I do more content than most? Absolutely. But if you showed up once a day, every day, within a few weeks, you'll start to feel the benefit from the people who start to engage with you. And they start to unlock more and unlock more and unlock more and unlock more. Content is not an instant return, but it is a return you can benefit from within 3 months. And really you start to see real strong benefit 12 months in, where it's like, I'm getting messages every day. If I post a PDF, a link to my website, because I'm doing this level of content and I have downloads, so I have a PDF download, I post it on my LinkedIn, I can post it up there and people will literally go and download it, and I can follow up with them that they've downloaded it. I can ask people if they want this information to message me, and they respond. Why is that? Simply because they trust me. And Frank, if you're in sales, for an example, well, Frank, content is the same as if you're doing cold outreach. Cold outreach, you can't measure the return until you've done it. But content consistently, I've got tons of clients who said it. I've got leads, clients, we teach it, we implement it with clients. It's not an instant return, but it is something you can do fairly quickly. So statistical evidence. So 53% of companies are using content marketing as a way to bring in business and to what we call prime their prospects. In other words, take the friction out of the sales process. If people have consumed more content, they're more receptive to your business. And trust, building that trust. So that's the first thing. If you go onto a sales call with somebody you've never met before, has no idea who you are, you've got a big trust hill to climb. If they've seen your content, engaged with your content, they've interacted with you in kind of content, it makes it a ton easier, way easier. So this is a key element. And statistically, 54% of businesses generate more leads from content. Yeah, so content generates the most traffic. If you look at TikTok, if you look at all of these channels, and for some of us here, it might be a bit like, oh, this is a new world. But think about it like this. And I shared this in one of my posts. You are effectively a television star. I know that's cheesy. Whether you're A-list, B-list, C-list, Z-list, you are a television celebrity. Just go with me. Your social media is your television channel. Now, if I'm a TV exec, yeah, and I was a TV exec for a long time, I would produce, and we would produce as a company, we would produce television programs for target audiences that would entertain, inform, and engage and interest them. We would produce those. I didn't make the TV programs. I was not one of the suits, but I've never worn a suit in 20 years or whatever for work. But I would be one of the suits behind the scenes going, if we make this content, how do we make a return on investment? And of course, it's in the elements around that content. If that content gets an audience and a following, then I can leverage that and commercialize that with promotions, with ads, promotional content, and I can reach out to our audience, what the audience we knew, and I could reach out and engage them and get their buy-in to other stuff because of that piece of content. So thank you, Andrew. So it's a TV model for the old world people. Content is a TV model. You put out a TV show and you put your promos round it, and your promos and your content align. They're perfectly aligned and they fit with your target audience. Agnes has got a good question there. Maybe we can put it on screen. Agnes has got a good question. How important is the audience? Do we write content to reach or chase a certain audience, or is it something we build organically? Well, let me give you a TV example, and I'll tell you my example. So in the TV world, we wanted, let's say we would design a TV program to fit a segment where we had an active audience. So in a content scenario, Agnes, you will want to build a particular audience to commercialize. Yeah, just to be clinical about this. You want an audience that you can leverage. Now, some of you might be leveraging it for classic sales, to sell a coaching program, to sell business services, to sell cybersecurity. It doesn't matter, but you're trying to commercialize an audience. That commercialization might be in terms of reducing friction. It might be in terms of generating leads. It might be in terms of building relationships. It might be you want to just build this audience to commercialize later, but you need to know who you're trying to commercialize. So if it's small business owners, if it's CIOs, if it's marketing managers, if it's social media consultants, you need to define who you're building the audience for. That's number one of Agnes's question. Can we keep Agnes's question up there? Now, Agnes asks a good question here, because one of the things she says is content to reach or chase a certain audience. Everybody should have a design or a definition of who they really want their audience to be, because you make the content to fit the audience. So that's what you must do. If you do it the other way around, as kind of Agnes has said, should you chase an audience, a certain audience, you can end up where basically you do things the wrong way. Now, this is the audience we're going after. What's interesting to them? You can Google that, by the way. You can study other content. You can look at it. You can cannibalize my posts and make your own versions. But if you want a particular audience, you want to map out what they're interested in, what they find challenging, all of those things, and list them down alongside your list of topics to align them. If you go the other way round, so you chase an audience, by that I mean you just want the views, the likes and the comments, you will have a big difficulty commercializing that audience. Why? Well, let me give you an example. If I start to post funny TikToks on LinkedIn, I could probably end up with 1 million followers, but in 6 months' time, if I did that. So I find funny TikToks that have performed and I just post them every day. Every post that I do would blow up because I'm touching humor. Yeah, humor. And everybody's got a sense of humor. But what I'm doing is I'm building an audience who want to laugh. I'm building an audience. Now, we can put humor into our content, but if our primary thing is people who want to laugh, people will follow. Why? Because they found the posts funny. If we're trying to build our expertise, we have to show our expertise so that people who engage with it find it useful and valuable. So target audience becomes important, who you want to reach and on what basis. Is it to inform, incite? Obviously we want to monetize and commercialize, but actually we have to know, for an example, documentaries. Yeah. If I was a TV channel putting documentaries out, it's a different audience than a sitcom. But if I just chase views and any audience, I end up with this ragtag bunch, a big ragtag bunch of people with all different interests. But the common denominator is humor. So when I start to, unless I'm selling a comedy book or a how to make a funny video or any of those things, I'm not going to get it. There used to be a TV program on a Saturday, I don't know if it's still on anymore, it used to be called You've Been Framed. And they put on there all the outtakes that people would send in. So they'd send in their outtakes from their videos where they'd had a slip, a trip, a fall, or something funny happened, and they would collate them into a TV show. Now, when that show went off air for a while, came back again, I think it's off again, they had to replace it with a comedy or humorous TV show. Why? Because the audience had got used to tuning in for that type of content. So your content should actually be a bit repetitive because you're talking about the same topics over and over again. That's how you build a personal brand. That's how you showcase your expertise. Because remember, 15 pieces of content need to be consumed for people to remember it, not 15 viewed, consumed. So you got to get yourself out there. You want to pick your content, subject matter, and your audience based on what you want to commercialize from. Now, how do you separate yourself from the crowd? Hopefully everybody's still alive, and thank you for that question, Agnes. It was a really good question. How do you separate yourself from the crowd? There's only, just be honest for a moment. There's nothing new. These days, on the internet, you can find everything. Everything, every bit of information that is there, needs to be known, is known. So it's very difficult for you to create something totally unique. It's very difficult. Trying to create unique or original stuff will be very difficult. So I'm not saying you cannibalize and steal other people's content, but what I'm saying is what's unique about your content is you, the way you express it, your take on it, and your angle. Your personality coming through. So when I don't love to do videos, but I like doing them because people get to know me, my take, my thoughts, my opinions. Not everybody will agree with me, and I respect people's differences of opinions, but the people who do will congregate around me and follow and choose to engage with me. Why? Because they like my approach, my way. And we can be quite afraid of using that, but actually it's our number one differentiator. It's our number one differentiator. Everything is already written. Everything is already produced except your version. Everything's already done. You're just looking for your version. So you don't copy other people's, but if you see, actually that's a really good point on the structural integrity of widgets. But this is how I think about it. I'm going to share how I think about the structural integrity of widgets. So it's your take that makes it unique. It's your personality that makes it unique. And as Tim's emphasized, creating something new is very time consuming. Giving your take on something is not time consuming because there are a gazillion sources to look at and go, yeah, actually, I'm going to talk about why emojis are good in LinkedIn posts. Why? Because it breaks it up and all that kind of stuff. That's what I'm going to do. So it's really straightforward to do. Now, if you want to really, once you've done all of these posts, and it's important you put that personality into your content so that people warm to you, obviously you're going to promote. You're going to put stuff out there to get people to engage, get people to buy from you and see the need to have a call with you and all that stuff. So how do you do that? Well, there's a couple of things you need to include. So let's say, for an example, 20% of your content is promotional. Yeah. So buy my stuff. Here's this program we're doing, or this. Sign up for this. Do you book a sales call? All of those. 20%. So in a week on LinkedIn, if you were doing one post a day, that's one post a day is promotional. Now, 20% of your content is promotional. Another 20% is personal. Another 20% is actionable. Yeah. Another 20% is insightful. So in other words, so actionable is something they can do. Go try this, go do this, have a look at this. I've just found this really interesting paper on the structural integrity. Go look at it. You're giving people something to do. Insightful is where you help people understand something better. And then the final one, so you've got promotional, personal, actionable, insightful. The final one is where you agitate. So agitation content is where you can talk to people's goals and outcomes. And you might give some advice in there, but the primary thing you're doing is agitating, where you help people understand their problem better, or you speak into the problem of why something happens. We call it diagnosis content, where you explain, if you're getting no views, this is why. But you don't just say, if you're getting no views, this is why. You actually stir the pot, as we would say, put salt in the wound. And what you do is basically talk about the pains and the goals, but actually land it into, I'm sure you've spent hours and got really frustrated trying to write posts and coming up with no ideas, or you've wrote half a post and then got stuck. You start to agitate. Maybe you get really frustrated because you're seeing other people posting consistently and you can't do it. Agitation is good. So 20% personal, 20% promotional, 20% actionable, 20% insightful, 20% agitating. In other words, stirring the pot. If somebody's frustrated with something, if somebody's got a goal they want to reach, you talk about it. And you'll see some of my posts do this too. Brian's asked about links. Now, there's an important thing about links. If you use too many links, what will happen is people will navigate away from your post and they may not come back to engage. And what will happen is you will lose visibility because people aren't engaging. So it's important you have a mix. You can use links, but if you overuse links, your engagement will fall. But likewise, you want to create call to action and get people to do something. So have a good mix. If you want to do 50-50, that's fine. See how it goes. But in the early stages, don't use links because you want to get the maximum engagement, because it is a bit of a snowball. If you get engagement, you get more engagement. So you have to bear that in mind. You have to do some content, which is why the personal ones are so useful to kickstart the whole thing and keep it moving, because your promotional content is probably going to get the least amount of engagement, but it will get in front of the people, your target audience. And so that's why it's important. Now, hopefully I've got through quite a bit there. What I want you to do is 2 pieces of homework I want to give you. Number 1, I want you to copy my post, but make your own version of it tomorrow. And when you do, I want you in the comments to tag me in the post. Christine's asked a question. I want you to tag me in the post in the comments, and I'll come and look at the post and engage with it and give you some feedback. So that's the first thing. So make your own version of that post tomorrow, tag me in the comments, and I'll come look at the post and give you some feedback. If we're not connected, drop me a connection request and I'll message you back with the feedback. The second thing I want you to do, and I'll come to Rachel's comment and Christine's question in a second. I'll come to that in a second. So the second thing I want to do is next Tuesday, I'm going to teach you how to build an email list from your social media content. So this is not advertised. I'm going to show you that. Tim, I will answer, and Rachel, I'll answer your question. So I'm going to run what I call a closed shop session where I'll teach you privately how to build an email list, and it's interactive. You can ask questions. It's on Zoom. I'm going to put the link in the chat for that session. I want you to come along to that where I teach you, but there's a condition of me if you come. If you get value from that session, I want a Google review. Yeah, there's the deal. I want a Google review if you come to that session. So I'll teach you why you should be building an email. I'll tell you why. Social media changes. So I can get you going on social media. I can get you flying. But what will happen is at some point, the algorithm will change. You want to have a list. You want to be not reliant on social media. Use it. I love it, but I have to be aware it could all change tomorrow. So I exploit it for my benefit, but actually ultimately I have to build that list. So if you want to come to that, I want you to come to that. I'm going to teach you, but in exchange for a Google review if you get value. So I'll come to the questions now. So number one, do your homework, make your own version of that post it and tag me in it. Number two, get yourself booked in for that. Build an email list from social media. I'm going to teach it you, but I want a Google review. That's a fair deal, I think. Christine, what's the importance of using hashtags? Well, hashtags are a bit different on all channels, but ultimately what they do is they get your content in front of more people, different people. So I often choose, Instagram's a little bit different and TikTok's a little bit different, but Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, use hashtags that get your content in front of your target audience. One of the big dangers and failures I see is people using hashtags that promote their content to people who do what they do. Like, for an example, hashtag mindset on a coach's post. Why would they promote that to people who are following the mindset hashtag? Because they're people who understand mindset. They're probably other mindset coaches. So use hashtags your customers are following, not hashtags your content's about or your industry's about. So that's important. Tim put my breakdown there, and Rachel asked, does this breakdown also apply to other social media platforms? Yes, it does. Obviously, Twitter's a little bit different. Because it's all text, very little imagery, but a lot of text. But fundamentally, yes, it does. But remember, it takes a little bit of momentum to get things going. So you have to do engagement posts like personal ones, like tips, to get that momentum and keep that momentum so that they see your promotional content. And so you build that trust, credibility to make the sales process easier. And to do what I've got over my shoulder here, build an email list from social. So Mary, yeah, hashtags. If I was promoting coaching, I would be thinking about what is the people I want my target audience following. So if I'm going to do coaching for marketing managers and people in the marketing world, I might use the hashtag marketing on my marketing post talking to people who need coaching in the marketing sector. If I was doing LinkedIn coaching for technology companies, I'd be using hashtag technology. I wouldn't be using hashtag LinkedIn coaching, because why would I want to promote my LinkedIn coaching to other people who are posting about LinkedIn coaching? I wouldn't. Paul's there. Tag in the comments. Hang on, I'll come to Paul in a second. Alison, some people have done a lot of tags in comments. The reason I asked you to tag me in the comments is so I can find your post and come and give you feedback. If you spam tag people, it gets really annoying. I get tagged in them a lot. And it's quite obvious people are doing it to cheat the algorithm. Now, I'm not a purist in that, oh no, everything must be perfectly organic and all that. I'm not into that. But it does look doesn't look great if you've tagged a load of people into the comments. If you tag a couple of people and ask them a question, maybe, but you would know them. You wouldn't tag strangers in there. Let's have a look. Tagging people in the post could also be quite useful. Frank's asked a good question there, but Frank's question is, can you speak, let's put Frank's question up on screen. Can you speak to the difference on posting on your personal page versus the corporate page? Right. So in order to understand this, right, real simple economics first. Social media platforms have a business model. Their business model is company pages, whatever platform, excluding Twitter because it's a bit different, but Instagram a little bit, but company pages pay us ad money. Profiles are the reason why we make the ad money. So you will always get more traction on your profile than you will on your page. Now, depending on which platform you're on, there's differences, but obviously you have to be a little bit more business-like, shall we say, in terms of tone on your company page, particularly if it's a larger organization, than maybe you would be on your personal profile. Company pages are more like validators. If you want to get organic leads from your company page, from content, you need to do a gazillion times more work than you do on your personal profile. Why? Because LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever you want to do, they want you to pay for that. They want you to pay for that. So they're not going to give it you for free, and they're not going to make it easy for you to get it for free. That's just the reality. So TikTok recently, if you have a personal profile, you seem to get a lot more reach. But once you switch over to a business profile, it's a tougher game. It's the same on LinkedIn with company pages and personal profiles, same on Facebook. Twitter, there's not much of a difference, but Twitter's tough. It's outbound engagement first to get Twitter going. We'll need to work on the hashtags, but very useful session. Thank you. So yes, company pages. One of the things we do on our company page is we have a bank of blogs. We've got about 500 blogs on our website, something ridiculous like that. So our social team here will post a couple of our blogs on our website, on our pages every day. They'll put something native to the platform, so a direct post on there once a day, and they might put some other things on there. So with the company page, it's much more volume centric to actually get it going, and then it's a tough deal. It really is. Yeah, I mean, the only pages I've seen that really fly are where they go all in on entertaining and engaging, and there is a massive entertainment aspect to getting a page going. I know a couple of people in my industry who've built some really incredible pages, and a lot of it is very humor driven, but it's humor driven with a point. And it's a tough deal, and it's actually tougher to do now than maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So homework for you guys is, number one, replicate that post, tag me in the comments so I can come and find it, give you some feedback. That's number one. Number two, check out the link in the comments or message me for the link. Sign up. I'm going to teach you how to do this for free on a Zoom call so you can ask questions, not like a broadcast like this. So we get to see each other's faces. You can ask questions. You can tell us about your business, and we can go through scenarios together in a bit more human way. The only condition is I want a Google review if you come. Obviously, if you get value. If you think it's crap, you don't have to give me a Google review. But email, I know email feels very old school, but it is the self-defense against social media not turning on you, but social media not going your way. And I'm starting a program actually. I think we've just closed off admissions, so I'm not selling it, where we actually help you build an email list inside the program. Maybe only be your first 100 subscribers, but it's your first 100 people who are resonating with you. But we'll teach you how to do that. Okay, brilliant. I'm going to run because I promised I'd keep to time. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember your homework. You got 2 pieces of homework. The post, tag me in the comments, sign up for our email list with social. As long as you get a Google review, it's free. And please do spread the word, like, comment, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff wherever you're watching. Like, comment, subscribe. It really helps us get the visibility, do more of this stuff for free as well. And thank you so much. Really appreciate you joining me on a Tuesday to learn about content that converts.